Censorship of Japanese media in South Korea is a little bit of a complicated situation, so let's start with that. But this is not a history channel. This is not a history lesson. This is like a 30-second TLDR just to kind of give you a little bit more perspective if you don't already know. Censorship of Japanese media in South Korea refers to laws created by the government of South Korea to prevent the importing and distribution of media from Japan. The laws were a reaction to the decades-long Japanese occupation of Korea. As a result, South Korea had no legal access to Japanese media at all until the 1990s. As of 2018, there are still several laws restricting broadcasting of Japanese media in South Korea. There were some revisions to these laws in 1998, 1999, 2000, 2004, and there are still laws remaining in place. For example, it's still illegal to broadcast certain Japanese media over terrestrial signals over South Korea. February 11th, they did indicate that they might consider lifting the ban in the future. Well, it turns out, as we know today, this is not really looking to be the case. As a matter of fact, they're stepping it up. And another crazy example actually is from 2014, when a K-pop song even was banned from playing in South Korea simply because it had a Japanese word, that word being pika pika in the lyrics. Yes, you heard that right. Pika pika. But again, I know you're not here for the history, so let's talk about anime. We're here on OAG from Billy D, who wrote South Korea court rules explicit anime manga featuring, quote, teenagers is child you know what. A bit more than enthusiasm, if you know what I'm referring to. And that was not coined by me. That was coined, I believe, by a certain perfectionist. But regardless, that's not the point. The point is, this is not exactly something that's going to work very well. And before we even read this, let's talk about why this is probably not going to work so well. Because I can show you some examples right now. The article is going to talk about how characters in school uniforms, for example, are going to be banned because this is how they're determining characters that are teenagers. Well, the thing is, there's plenty of anime where characters wear school uniforms and are not teenagers. One very good example is Bleach, when you have some of the captains and lieutenants going to Karakura Town. They dress up in school uniforms so they blend in, but these are all characters that are well over 100 years old, and they're most certainly not teenagers. As a matter of fact, they are soul reapers who will probably, well, you know, if you're a hollow, they will take your life, and they will do it violently, and you will be very unhappy as you get sent to Hueco Mundo. That's besides the point. Another example right here, we have Rukia in her school uniform, and this is just a great picture. I just want to show this one because who doesn't like seeing Ichigo and Renji fight over Rukia? Hashtag Ichiruki for life. I'm sorry, Renji, but you don't deserve her. Ichigo and Rukia is better. But that's besides the point. This is just two examples that I wanted to mention before we read here. And the other thing, too, is there are characters who are teenagers that don't wear school uniforms. So this doesn't make sense for a number of reasons. But let's read. See what they say. It's not looking good for manga and anime enthusiasts. A South Korean court has recently overturned a lower court decision by claiming that the depiction of, quote, teenagers in explicit anime or manga is considered child you know what, and therefore is child abuse. According to The Telegraph, the outlet is reporting that originally a website owner in South Korea going by the surname Lim managed to escape any sort of prosecution by lower courts for running a site containing fictional, you know what, adult material, when they determined that drawings and cartoons were animated and that it was unreasonable to prosecute him for child you know what. One more time. However, things turned out sour for Lim when the Supreme Court overturned the decision. Oh boy. The Telegraph explained, some quotes, the lower courts said more evidence than the characters were under the legal age of consent would be required to go ahead with the prosecution. Did they really? The characters were under the legal age of consent. Characters. Okay. The Supreme Court has overturned those decisions, ruling in the perceptive of a common individual in our society, the contents of the video demonstrates what could be seen, what can be seen to be teenagers. So there you go. Let's continue on. According to the article, the identifier the court used to determine if the characters were teenagers were their school uniforms. Absolutely ridiculous. That's a very bad way of judging it. Similar to how Valve has determined to ban certain games from Steam, in fact, Taimanim Asagi was banned from Steam because Valve saw that one of the very buxom characters was wearing what they determined to be a school uniform, and thus classified the character as young-looking, which resulted in the ban, as reported by Niche Gamer. For many South Koreans, this news probably isn't too shocking regarding the Supreme Court stepping in to overturn the lower court's decision, given that back in February of 2019, Korea Bizwire reported to the South Korean government it had blocked all adult sites which resulted in a silent protest by the people. They didn't specify what Lim's punishment would be, but this sets a dangerous precedent for the world of anime and manga, especially since the UN, I was just going to bring that up if Billy D didn't, but he did, I'm glad, has already targeted anime and manga and wants to get state members to enact censorship policies against drawings and cartoons. This is despite the fact that UN aid workers, peacekeepers, and officials have, oh boy, have done things with tens of thousands of kids over the course of several decades. So that's a whole other topic that we're not going to get into on this channel. Absolutely not. But if you want to look more into that, by all means, go ahead on your own time. It's very disturbing stuff. And it finishes off with writing, however, if the war on anime and manga continues to escalate, eventually it could end up affecting countries where that sort of thing is not banned. So you have a huge amount of hypocrisy there, as mentioned with the UN, man. Horrible things have been coming out about that whole, again, I don't want to get into that. Look it up if you want more information on that. But again, it sets a dangerous precedent indeed. And the merit that they're judging this on makes no sense to me. I mean, listen, hypothetically, even if they want to do this, I think they should make better rules for how they're going to judge that by, right? And if that's just quite ridiculous in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. First video for the day. That's really all there is to say about this one. But I look forward to seeing you guys in a few hours, see what's going on. And if you enjoy this video, please consider leaving a comment down below, liking the video, sharing the video. All of that helps, and I truly do appreciate it. And before we close this out, I got some shouts out for the kind people who promoted yesterday's Funimation video. Shouts out to Ishra, Cornbread Man, Rookie Joestar, Raven Liz, DXDKJ, Lancaster Kid, Coden X, Mo Dome, Super Speed 21YT, Simone Barr, John Edwards, Game Wizard 02, Silver Dragneel, Nanad Milinkovic, Gabster ×2, Intimidator 108, Lethal Flames, Peta's Nose, and yeah, that's the last one. Thank you guys very much. See you in a little bit.